Hello everyone, Ron again, and in this video we're briefly going to talk about one way that EQ relates to clarity in a mix. I've spoken about EQ before in additive and subtractive EQ, but that was with the voice, and although it is very similar, I'm just going to demonstrate one thing with instruments, or with anything really. So you could apply this to a vocal as well, like this idea, and even to an entire mix. But it's the concept of adding higher frequencies to achieve more clarity. And I'm going to connect some things together for why this happens. So if you look here, there's a mini synth. I have a fruity reverb too that's on the same track as the mini synth. And there's a fruity fast low pass. And I have another fruity parametric EQ too. And right now, it's just got a high pass filter, a sort of gentle one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this sound and I'm going to allow you to hear the differences. And, well, I'm going to discuss why the thing happens that happens and what my whole purpose is in showing you this really simple thing. Because it can make a big difference with, well, how you decide to change a sound, whether you manipulate it with something like compression and turn it up, or whether you just EQ the top end because you're like, I just want it to stand out a little bit more. All right, so here we go. I'm going to play the sound. Now listen to the difference when I switch to EQ. Cool, right? Doesn't it sound like it gets closer? And this is a sound I just made in a few minutes. And it sounds a little bit like a trumpet to me. I like that. But as you can see with this EQ, when I switch the compare button, because that's what this is doing, it's like A/B, sort of like the bypass in the other plugins. It's just got the high pass here. But here I did an EQ curve that adds upper harmonics. So the key takeaway to this lesson about clarity, which is going to be very simple, is that you have a term called airiness, and it is one of those vague terms like bright or dark or warm, but it does have a sort of meaning that you can follow a little bit. Airiness usually, as I've come across it, means that something is bright, which means that it's got a lot of upper frequencies, or they're very pronounced, and it has reverb that you can hear in it. So that's what it means for something to have an airy character. So that's the sort of character that I was going for in making this sound. It's like an airy trumpet sound, kind of. But as we perceive things, when we hear the upper frequencies pronounced more, that's what makes something sound more clear. Because in nature, when something gets closer to you, it is going to have more upper harmonics, and more of the upper frequencies will reach you. As I said in a previous video about reverb, if a sound takes longer to travel to you, it loses more of its high frequencies because it loses power as it is traveling due to the wind. So when something is very close to you, you pretty much hear all of it. So that's why this sounds closer when I add these upper harmonics using this EQ curve. And that's really just as simple as it is. Sometimes you can make something stand out more by just adding upper frequencies to it. Not a complicated lesson. And before I end the video, I'm going to demonstrate the concept of something moving closer or farther away. And that's the purpose of the low pass filter. So when you have reverb on something, The factors that make reverb sound close are the amount of upper frequencies and the volume, and of course, pre-delay. If you start low passing something that has reverb on it, it's going to get further away. And basically, that's just what I'm going to show you. So, here we go. Check this out. It's pretty cool, actually. So you can see, as I close the low pass filter, it sounds like the sound is leaving, like somebody is walking away playing the trumpet, or like it's a fade at the end of a song. So those are things you can use creatively in music if you wanted to make something sound like it is getting further away. Or let's say if you're doing something cinematic and somebody is leaving and you had to replicate a sound because the audio you got was bad. So you're trying to make either Foley or you're trying to create the sound. Or maybe you have a sample of the sound. You just have to make it sound like it would have outside. Because there are times when somebody is doing something like they're performing a scene and the audio that's on set is not good enough. So they reproduce the audio in a studio and then they apply that audio to the video, kind of like a voiceover. So you might have to do that. And if somebody is walking away, you just low pass them, you know? And even if they're walking away and they're talking, you might also elect to low pass them. And if you need them to sound closer, you might just add upper harmonics and then you might de-S because the S's can get crazy when you do this to a voice. But there are obviously no S's in a synthesizer, so you're not going to have that problem. But yeah, that's basically all I wanted to cover for today. I wanted to keep it short, sweet, and to the point. Something that's easy to digest. It is Friday after all. And I've got to figure out what I'm going to do for next week on Monday. So we will see when we get there. But I will see maybe today or tomorrow. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you stuck around to the end, I thank you. And with that, I hope that you have an awesome day. As usual, peace.